Biodiversity is the rich variety of life on Earth. Biodiversity is the rich variety of life on Earth. It includes every living thing, from the smallest bacteria to the largest blue whale. It includes every living thing, from the smallest bacteria to the largest blue whale. It includes every living thing, from the smallest bacteria to the largest blue whale. It encompasses the millions of plants, animals, and microorganisms. It encompasses the millions of plants, animals, and microorganisms. It encompasses the millions of plants, animals, and microorganisms. It also includes the genetic differences among them and the complex ecosystems they form. This intricate web of life is not just beautiful to look at. It is fundamental to the survival of humanity itself. Every species plays a role in maintaining the balance of our planet's delicate systems. The health of our environment is directly linked to the richness of its biodiversity. Without this variety, our world would be a much less stable and resilient place for all living beings. The protection of biodiversity is not a choice, but a necessity for human survival. We depend on healthy ecosystems for countless essential services. These services include clean air to breathe, fresh water to drink, and fertile soil to grow our food. A wildlife sanctuary is a designated area reserved for the protection of wild animals. The primary objective is to create a safe haven where fauna can live and breed without disturbance. These areas are established by state governments through a notification. While the focus is heavily on animal conservation, the protection extends to the habitat that supports them. The boundaries of a sanctuary are not as rigidly defined as those of a national park and can be altered with a resolution from the state legislature. The core purpose is to ensure the survival and propagation of specific, often threatened animal species in their natural environment. Management of a wildlife sanctuary is typically handled by the respective state government. The chief wildlife warden, appointed by the state, is the authority who controls, manages, and maintains the sanctuary. This management structure allows for a degree of flexibility. Regulated grazing of livestock, collection of minor forest produce, private land ownership that existed before notification. The level of restriction is generally lower than that of a national park, aiming to balance conservation with local community needs. The main focus of protection within a wildlife sanctuary is species-oriented. These areas are often established to protect a particular flagship species, Indian bustard, lion-tailed macaque. All animals found within its boundaries are protected from hunting, poaching, and capture. While the animals receive the highest degree of legal protection, the habitat itself is also managed to support their populations. The goal is to create an ideal environment for the target species to flourish. A national park is an area that is given a much higher degree of protection than a wildlife sanctuary. These parks are also established by the state government, but their boundaries are fixed and can only be altered by a resolution passed by the state legislature. The primary purpose of a national park is to protect the entire ecosystem. Flora, fauna, landscape, historical objects. Unlike sanctuaries that may focus on a specific species, national parks adopt a more holistic approach. They are established to conserve areas of significant natural and ecological importance for present and future generations. The protection level in a national park is extremely high, and human activities are severely restricted. Grazing, forestry, collection of any forest produce. No human settlement is allowed within the park, and private land rights are generally not permitted. Access for visitors is regulated and often limited to specific zones to minimize disturbance to the wildlife and the natural habitat. The core idea is to keep the ecosystem as pristine and untouched as possible, allowing natural processes to unfold without human interference. This makes national parks the highest fortresses of conservation in the country. The management of a national park is also under the control of the state government. However, the legal framework governing it is much more stringent. The Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 provides a robust legal basis for the creation and management of these parks. The focus is not just on protecting individual species, but on preserving the integrity of the entire ecological community. Geological features complete biodiversity, serving scientific, educational, and recreational purposes in a controlled manner. A biosphere reserve is a unique and comprehensive concept of conservation. It is an internationally recognized designation by UNESCO under its Man and the Biosphere program. These are very large areas of land or coastal and marine ecosystems where conservation is integrated with sustainable human development. The main purpose of a biosphere reserve is not just to protect biodiversity, but also to foster a balanced relationship between people and nature. It aims to reconcile conservation with the economic and social needs of the local communities, promoting sustainable livelihoods and traditional knowledge. This makes it a living laboratory for testing and demonstrating sustainable management practices. The structure of a biosphere reserve is its most distinctive feature, divided into 3 interrelated zones. The innermost zone is the core area, which is a legally protected ecosystem, often comprising a national park or sanctuary. This area is kept completely undisturbed to conserve landscapes, ecosystems, and species. Surrounding the core is the buffer zone, where activities compatible with conservation are permitted, such as research, environmental education, and limited tourism. The outermost part is the transition area, where the greatest activity is allowed. Here, local communities engage in sustainable agriculture, forestry, and other economic activities in harmony with conservation goals. The management of a biosphere reserve is a collaborative effort involving government agencies, scientists, NGOs, and most importantly, local communities. This participatory approach ensures that the conservation goals are aligned with the development aspirations of the people living in and around the reserve. Unlike national parks or sanctuaries, which are primarily focused on enforcing regulations, biosphere reserves emphasize dialogue, knowledge sharing, and cooperation. They serve as platforms for research and monitoring, helping us understand the impact of human activities on the natural world, and find innovative solutions for sustainable living that benefit both people and the environment. India has several biosphere reserves, and the Dibru-Saikhowa Biosphere Reserve in Assam is a notable example. It is known for its rich biodiversity, including the feral horse and the white-winged wood duck. The reserve encompasses a national park as its core area and is surrounded by buffer and transition zones where local communities practice traditional agriculture and fishing. This model allows for the conservation of a critical wetland ecosystem while supporting the livelihoods of the people who depend on it. Biosphere reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, and national parks, though different in their approach, are all vital pillars of India's conservation strategy, working together to safeguard our precious natural heritage for generations to come.